Hi everyone, Christmas is over, the holidays are done, and our fridge is full of we don't even know what. And so we need to get back to our more healthy eating, and I need to clean out this fridge because, I mean, there's no space to put anything, and things are not where they should be, and who knows what is still back there left over from Christmas dinner. So we're going to get the fridge cleaned out, and we're going to restock it with good food that's good for us, easy to get for lunches and everything. And we're going to use the Cricut to help us get things organized and labeled. So let's get going. Okay, I'm out of space on my counter, and so what I'm going to do now is kind of is clean and go back in, and then I'll show you kind of my thought process as I work through food in the fridge. One of the things I've got here is chicken with some meat still on the bone, and it's still good. It's only, like from 2 days ago. And so I want to make some chicken noodle soup. So while I'm cleaning, I'm going to go ahead. I've got a pot of water boiling on the aga, and so I'm just going to go ahead and put the bones in there so we can make chicken noodle soup. All right, so I've got a whole bunch of food out of the fridge, and so I'm just going to kind of go through that for some ideas maybe of how to approach this stuff. And of course, there's the whole thing, if it smells bad, it's gone. But because we're also trying to change our eating habits a little bit, we have some other things to consider. And so we're going to kind of look at some things and then put them back. Now, our eating habits are different than yours, and so if you are not a milk family, okay, that's great. But I'm just going to address a little bit of what we're doing here. And I'm going to put away as we go, and then at the very end, I'm going to show you our big final reveal of actually what's in our fridge and why it's there. So this is some soup I made a couple of weeks ago, and with everybody here, it just kept getting pushed to the back. So that I'm going to go ahead and dump down the toilet, and then of course wash the bowl, and so we'll get that out of here. Lindsay's going to do that. We have some jars of jam that are so low, there's really not much left. Those are going into the sink. Now here's something. We have our homemade pesto that we really like, and then we have some pesto that we got from somewhere, not sure where. But none of us like this pesto very much. We all like the homemade. So this has been sitting there, and it's not going to get eaten because we all defer to this pesto. So that's going. And sometimes there's that whole idea of, oh, I don't want to throw it away because I'm wasting money. I go through that debate too, but there's the whole thing between wasting money or wasting space and time fiddling with stuff. So sometimes I just feel like I just have to let things go in favor of space, time, or health. So for example, I don't know, we've got some old barbecue sauce sitting there, and we are really trying to get away from high fructose corn syrup, and that's the first ingredient. And so we're going to just get rid of that so we're not having to deal with that. And that's one of the things I am looking at as I go through these, is how much sugar is in these items. Look at that. This, I don't know what this is. This kind of sauce, very first ingredient, high fructose corn syrup. And so I was watching a video about that, and about the trouble that causes. So I'm just getting rid of those. And so that makes That makes some weeding out very, very easy, just right from the start. So this one, it's not high fructose corn syrup, but the very first ingredient is sugar. And I've been learning to make my own sort of oriental sauces because we like poke bowls. So I'm gonna let those things go. And I know I'm with you about the expense of those things, but you know, we have to consider this stuff. I'll actually be weeding through the door mostly. And okay, so now you're saying, all right, she's throwing away the store-bought stuff with high fructose corn syrup, but she's keeping the homemade jam. I know exactly what is in this, and so I feel much better, and I've never used high fructose corn syrup, and so we're keeping our jam. We usually use that in small amounts, and it's from my uncle's grapes, and it's really yummy, and you know, you just have to make your decision. So my chicken stock is boiling, so now we're going to move it into the simmering oven so it can just simmer and get all of that meat off the bone and get the goodness out of the bones. And it could sit there for hours. Even if I forgot about it, it would still be good to use. So that's kind of like having a crock pot right there. So that's going to be a yummy dinner tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and sort through the rest of this, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how we prep things for ease for the kids to take for lunch or to keep healthy snacks on hand. And then we'll come back for the final tour of the fridge. Okay, I'm going to show you just a few quick things in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to make my list of things I need labeled in my fridge. So I'm going to grab a text box, and one of mine is going to be beverages, and I am going to resize that. Let's see, that's, okay, I'm looking at font size. I think I'm going to make that font size 45. And the reason I want to do that is because when I bring in other text, like, let's put in our vegetables. When I bring in other text, I want to size it to the very same font size as my other ones, so that when you look in the fridge, it all kinds of matches. So there's a way to do that. Now the beverage holder thing is white, so I'm actually going to do most of these labels in white. So I need to change the color of that beverages one so that it is a different color from all of the others. Actually, I think I'll probably do all the others in black, so I'm just going to do beverages in a light gray so that it will show up against a white background. And then I'm going to put in all of my other things, and I'm going to size them all to that same 45 size text size, font size, so that they all match inside the fridge. And so I'm going to go ahead and make my whole list and get it cut, and we'll come back. So to do this project, labeling my refrigerator, I'm going to use removable vinyl so that if I ever need to change the shelves, that's a lot easier. And one thing that I love, I actually have two of these little Cricut scrapers. I keep one up in the kitchen, and I've labeled it kitchen. And it's great for scraping off old labels. It's a great kitchen tool. So I just want to point that out. So I want to use scraps. So I'm going to do the beverage one that I need a different color. I'm going to do that in this navy blue. And then I actually have a bunch of white scraps. So what I'm going to do is when I'm cutting on that second mat, I'm actually going to line those things up so that I can just have it print straight down this piece of vinyl. So when I'm in Design Space, when you're in the Make It screen, you can move things around a little bit on those mats so that it'll print just the way you want it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this first one cut. And actually, I'm seeing that yeah, I'm gonna need to go this way for that whole word to fit. And then we're going to get that cut, and while that's cutting, I will be arranging the words on in my other design space while we're working on that. So I also have on hand some transfer tape. I really love this sort of masking tape, transfer tape. And of course my Cricut weeding tool, and some scissors, and my little bin where I collect my garbage scraps, and a scraper. I really like this particular scraper. Okay, and so once I have that figured out and my list is going down, I can go ahead and put on the vinyl, and then it's just going to print straight down like this, like I told it to. So those scraps are getting fewer and fewer. Right now I'm still continuing to just store them in the box so I know what they are, because sometimes I can't tell because the writing isn't on the back anymore. I can't tell what kind of vinyl it is, and so I just keep it in the box until once I get, if I buy a new box of this, I'll move those scraps into that box. But that's just a good way to keep track of what kind of vinyl it is that you have. I went ahead and I actually resized that list down to a size of 35 instead of 45, because once I started looking at it on the mat, I realized it was a little bigger than I wanted it. The beverage one I kept at the bigger size, partly because my scrap that I had left wasn't big enough to go ahead and print it at the new size, and I just decided to, so that's the one that's going to be a little bit odd in the fridge in comparison. So I brought one of the door containers so I can show you that, and I'm also going to be labeling my quart jar, but you'll see why, and you'll see the finished of everything once I show you our completed, organized fridge tour. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and weed the vinyl and get it onto the transfer tape so that I can then take it into the kitchen and go ahead and label all of my drawers and shelves and things in the fridge, and then I'll show you it when it's all finished. Okay, so it's time for the final fridge reveal. Dun, da, da, da. Oh, and it looks so pretty. Oh, I'm pretty excited about this and some of the changes that we're making. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour. We have some of our homemade jam and things here in this door. And this one is labeled Lindsay's Weird Stuff because you never know what's going on with her experiments. And then we have random stuff up here, our eggs. This is a container for boiled eggs. And then we keep our silicone rolling pin up here. And we also keep our batteries in the fridge. So we've actually got a big long thing for all different sizes of batteries. And then a shelf for miscellaneous. All the fruits here, and the kids all know that any fruits or vegetables that are here are free game for lunches. And then down here is meat and cheese, and so that's basically for the kids' lunches to take to school, and we are big cheese eaters, so there's always a lot of cheese. And then on the door, butter and bouillon, and then our condiments. I didn't label those because we move them around. There's our beverages. And then here's my favorite, the beautiful jars full of prepped vegetables. So what we've done is behind here we keep the vegetables ready so that when a jar gets empty, we can just refill it. And I labeled the jars so that when it's empty, we know what goes in it, and so that I know that I need to go to the store and do a little bit of grocery shopping. And so let's see if I can get a Good angle here. That is our organized and much more healthy refrigerator. Hope you like this. If there were any ideas that you like, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe, because coming up I have other organization ideas coming up, and I also have some fun Cricut Crafts and other things coming up for Valentine's Day. And so here we go to get organized and have some fun. See you next time.